we're going to start with the smoothie. You guys have these recipes in your packet. We're still recording. Okay. All right, so this is the glowing green smoothie. I'm just going to use, I always buy pre-washed, make it easy, organic spinach. You could use kale too, any sort of green leafy vegetable that needs to be used up in your fridge, you can throw in a smoothie. I know you had a question about like 6 to 9 cups, that's a lot, right? But it's doable because you can do 2 cups in the morning with a smoothie, 2 cups midday with a bowl or a salad, and then 2 cups at dinner with your broccoli and your salmon, right? Like 2, 2, 2, 6 a day. It's pretty doable if you just break it down like that. So smoothie, we're gonna do a lot of greens in here. I'm gonna make a big one, so this is probably bigger than you guys would make. And then I'm gonna do a banana. When I make one at home, I will either leave a banana out if I don't feel like it really needs to be sweet, or I'll do like a half a banana. We often freeze our bananas too. That's really good. My favorite way to make smoothies creamy though is frozen avocado. You can use fresh too, but frozen is really convenient. I get this at Target of all places. I think Aldi and Costco maybe has it too. Haven't seen it at Trader Joe's, my favorite store, but this is just in the frozen fruit section, chunks of frozen avocado. And I like it because it makes it creamy and yummy. It does not make it taste like avocado, and it keeps you full, like it really does. A smoothie with adequate protein and with adequate fat, like almond butter or avocado, is going to be good for your brain, but it's also going to keep you full so you're not thinking about food for like 4 to 6 hours. That's how long a smoothie should really last you. So we're going to do a few chunks of these frozen avocado. Do a lot of it. Yeah, in the frozen fruit section. It's not organic, but it's avocado. So you got the outer skin, right? When I think about the importance of things being organic, it's more about like apples, things that you're going to eat the skin. And there you can always look at like the Dirty Dozen, Clean 15, and the Clean 15 are the 15 that you don't really need to be organic, and avocados are always on that list, so I don't worry about organic with that. Yes?
I feel like avocados get a bad rap because they're so high in fat.
Yeah.
What is safe? What can you eat a day? Can you eat a whole avocado?
A whole avocado would be kind of a lot of calories, a lot of fat, especially if you're like trying to watch your weight. Okay. I usually say if weight loss is a goal or weight maintenance is a goal, I usually say like a quarter to a half a day. Yeah. If weight gain is a goal, you could do a whole. All right, so here, then we have the protein powder. So we like plant-based protein powders here because a lot of our patients have dairy sensitivities. Not everybody does, but a lot of people do. So whey protein is a dairy-based protein powder, right? So this is a plant-based protein powder. This is Sun Warrior. You can get it here if you want, or look for it online. It comes in vanilla and chocolate. I'm using the vanilla in this one. So I'll put a few scoops in here just again because I'm making a big one, but a serving for one person would be 1 scoop, which gives you 18 grams of protein. This is a fermented pea protein too, so that means it's easier on digestion than just regular pea protein, and it doesn't have any weird stuff in it. Like some protein powders have sugar alcohols in there, known as like xylitol, erythritol, sorbitol. Anything that ends in an OL is often in protein powders. And for some people, that's okay. But for some people, it causes a lot of digestive distress, a lot of gas, bloating. So if you're like, when I eat a smoothie, I don't feel very good, check your protein powder, the ingredients, and that sugar alcohol might be the culprit. But this one, rest assured, does not have it. Yes?
So we have a lot of food allergies in our family.
Yeah.
What would be, it's just disappearing.
No worries.
Otherwise well, but no pea protein and no soy.
Okay.
What would be
so let's think. Collagen would be great.
Protein.
Collagen protein. My kids love that the best in smoothies, so I get it from Trader Joe's. Great Lakes collagen protein powder. It's a green canister. Otherwise, Vital Proteins. It's a blue canister. You can get it at Target.
Yeah.
Those are good brands. And my kids like it because it's tasteless. Like some people don't love the vanilla or love the flavor of protein powder. So if you want to sneak stuff in, Collagen is a good one. Okay, matcha. This is my favorite morning beverage. I love matcha because it has some caffeine, which is nice, right? Gives you a little boost in the morning. But because it's got L-theanine in it, it does not make you squirrely. So it doesn't make you anxious. It doesn't make you jittery like coffee can do for some of us that are maybe a little more sensitive to excessive caffeine. So you feel alert, you feel energized, you feel jazzed, ready to go for the day, but you don't feel anxious. And you feel ready to focus too, because of that L-theanine in the matcha. So I make this every day as like a matcha latte. That's my morning way to start the day. But with just almond milk and this and maybe a little bit of honey and some hot water. But you can also use it as like a food, right? Because it's a powder, kind of like a flax, right? So it's a food, think of it as a food powder that you can add to smoothies. If you love your cup of coffee, but you know you want to get a little bit of matcha in your diet, throw it in a smoothie. But it does have caffeine, so, morning is the best time to do that. A serving is like 1 to 2 teaspoons. I'm going to do more in this. Yeah.
Does L-theanine help the caffeine to be absorbed in the body faster? Or
No, it's like it kind of blunts it. It like you feel alert from the caffeine, but you feel calm at the same time.
But in terms of like affecting your sleep at night, it's still better to not have it too late in the day.
The green tea, you still have caffeine. It's less caffeine than coffee.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would cut yourself. I always try to tell people like cut yourself off by like latest 2 p.m. for any caffeine, including green tea. Okay, so if you're gonna drink matcha, always look for a ceremonial grade. If you've ever had matcha where you're like, that does not taste right, that is earthy or just if it doesn't taste very good, if it's real bitter and it's not a really vibrant, feel free to come up and look at this color, but it's a really vibrant color, this one. And that's because it's a good quality one. It's ceremonial grade. So it's gonna be more expensive, but it's worth it. So I get this one from Thrive Market. Do you guys know Thrive? It's like an online health food delivery with a little bit of discounted goods. You need a membership to order, but I love Thrive. Otherwise, Rishi is a good one that Whole Foods or Outpost has. Rishi, that's a local tea company, and they make a ceremonial grade. So that's matcha. Then we've got our banana in there, a little bit of banana in there, and some almond milk. And you can add berries too. I just wanted to show you guys like the beautiful, vibrant color of this glowing green smoothie when it doesn't have berries in it. Berries are a great snack. That's one of my favorite brain snacks, like middle of the day. If I'm feeling a little run down and I need a little snack in between meals, I'll have a handful of walnuts, handful of blueberries. That can get you a long way for tiding you over. All right, then we've got some ice and then flax. So ground flax seeds. I buy it already ground because I use it so much. I plow through it. Like this will be a couple weeks worth, and I always store it in the fridge or freezer. If you've got flax that's been hanging out in your pantry for like months, smell it. It might be rancid. Flax is a very fragile fat, so it can go rancid easily. You want to use it up. You want to store it in the fridge or freezer. It shouldn't smell fishy. Okay, ground flax, really great for women, for hormones. It can help metabolize estrogen in the body, help kind of detox out that bad, more cancer-causing potent form of estrogen. And it's anti-inflammatory because of those essential fats. The same fats you're going to find in flax, you find in salmon, those omega-3 fats. Okay, we'll blend this up. I think I'm going to need more liquid. And you can just eyeball it, you don't have to follow my quantities. If it seems thick, then add more liquid. Flax and chia chia's good too, but they can make it things thick. So if you don't love that, back down maybe on the amount. Do 1 tablespoon instead of the 2. that should be good. You guys want to serve that up? All right, we'll start with our smoothie tasting, and then we'll make the bowl, the brain bowl. So the brain bowl, the base of it is my favorite type of rice called forbidden rice. It's this black rice that you can get from Whole Foods or Outpost in the bulk section. And it's also known as black rice or forbidden rice. And I love it for the brain because it's rich in those anthocyanins. The pigment, same pigment you're going to find in blueberries, you find in this. Yes.
Is that the same as wild rice?
Not the same as wild rice.
Oh.
Wild rice is good too. Wild rice is great. It's a great form of fiber. It's more of a grass than it is a grain. It's less starchy than regular rice, but forbidden rice is separate. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cook it in a base of coconut milk because it makes it taste good, but it also is neuroprotective then because of the medium chain triglycerides, the MCT. We find the type of fat that's found in coconut. That has the ability, it's been shown to turn off that ApoE4 gene. I use the canned, full fat canned coconut milk. Makes it taste so good. I'm gonna do about half a can there, and then some bone broth. Now, I'm making one live in front of you guys, but I already made a big batch last night. So if anybody's vegetarian, I made the batch that we're gonna eat in vegetable broth. Okay, so is anybody vegetarian? Okay, good. We've got a few. Let us know if you don't want salmon. We'll get to that when we divvy it up too. So bone broth, though, I usually use for myself at home, for my family. Whenever I make a grain, like quinoa or rice, forbidden rice, wild rice, I use bone broth as the base to cook it a lot of times instead of water. Bone broth is so rich in collagen. Collagen is the most predominant protein found in our bodies, our hair, our skin, our nails, joints. And it's really restorative for the gut lining. So it's full of protein too. I mean, a serving gives you 10 grams of protein. It tastes like chicken broth. I always buy it in the fridge section. It's going to be more thicker with that nice collagen. That's how you know it's a good one, where it's real thick. Yeah.
Just a quick question for the salmon bowl. I'm just curious if you have cheese in your family, like, just adding.
Yeah, so the salmon bowl, we are going to have edamame on it too, so that's a good protein. You could use tofu. You know, I think soy has gotten a bad rap. People always ask me about soy. And I think it's okay because if you look at Asian cultures, they eat a lot of soy. You know, like Okinawa, which is a blue zone, regions where they live to be 110 times the rate than we do in the U.S. In Okinawa, Japan, a staple of their diet is edamame and tofu and tempeh. Now, these are the purest forms of soy out there, right? Edamame, tofu, tempeh, miso, pure soy. That's what I think are healthy forms of soy. Not tofurkey, not Impossible Burgers or tofu or soy crumbles that are just like Franken soy, you know, like soy that's factory made, right? Like Franken soy. I mean, stuff that you don't eat, you've 50 ingredients. When you look at tofu, it's one ingredient, soy, right? Cliff Bars, you'll see soy protein isolate. Like that's not great. That's more of a processed form of soy where I think we get into issues. So long story short, edamame or tofu as a plant-based form of protein I think is good. Organic is good. When you buy soy, like this edamame today is organic. I got it from Outpost in the frozen section because soy is a more genetically modified food, so organic is best when you can look for that. All right, I got my liquids boiling, my coconut milk and my bone broth, and now I'm going to add the spices. So turmeric, I add it to everything, including rice. I've got turmeric, coriander, cumin, pepper, which activates the turmeric. Whenever you use turmeric, always add some pepper. That's going to enhance the bioavailability, the ability for your cells to absorb the turmeric. So put it on your eggs with some pepper and some salt. Put it on your vegetables. All right, I've got my boiled liquid. I'm gonna add my rice. I've got my ginger in here too to season it up. Ginger's great for anti-inflammatory, good for the gut, and gives it good flavor. All I did was buy fresh ginger, and then I took about an inch size piece and I shaved off the skin and chopped it in just tiny little chunks and threw it in there. So that's it. And so that's gonna simmer for on low for like 25-30 minutes till the liquid's absorbed until it's soft, just like cooking regular rice. But it's better than regular rice because of that deep pigment, those anthocyanins, which has the ability to concentrate in your hippocampus, your memory center, and promote better cognition. We get the anthocyanins, we find them in black rice, blueberries, purple sweet potatoes, another superfood that we get in, that was found in as part of the Okinawan blue zone region. So you can get purple sweet potatoes at Outpost that have those anthocyanins. Eggplant, the skins of eggplant. Don't shave off the skins when you use an eggplant, use the skins. Purple cabbage, that's another purple food. All right, so I'm gonna let that go. But we already have that made, and guess what? The rice, because I made it last night, it cooled, right? And then we reheated. That means now you're getting resistant starch, just like the potatoes. So anything starchy, rice and potatoes are good sources. If you cook them, cool, reheat. That means it's not going to spike your blood sugar as much. It means it's going to feed your microbiome, your good bugs in your colon better. And it's just easy. It's good meal prep, right? To think ahead, always think ahead of like, what am I serving, in a couple days. Make a bunch and then have it for the week. We're gonna do forbidden rice. We have cucumbers on there. We've got salmon, smoked salmon. This is wild caught smoked salmon. I get this from Trader Joe's. Wild caught, right? Wild caught's important when it comes to salmon. And it's just an easy protein that you can throw on your salad, throw in your bowls, just snack on with some crackers. My favorite crackers to snack on, like if you want kind of something salty, crunchy, Hu, just like Dr. Prentice mentioned, Hu chocolate. Hu also makes a really good almond flour, higher fiber, lower carbohydrate cracker. You get those at Outpost. Thrive Market has those. So that's a good kind of charcuterie board you can make up with some smoked salmon. It's just such an easy way. I hear a lot from patients that oh, I wish I could eat salmon, but nobody in my family likes it. I love it, but nobody in my family likes it. Well, smoked salmon's for you, okay? Good to self-care, pull that out, put it on your lunch. What else do we have on the bowl? We have lime. Yeah, we have seaweed gamaggio. Seaweed gamaggio is a fancy sesame seed. It's got sesame seeds, it also has salt, and it has nori. Nori is a seaweed that is rich in iodine, so it's good for our thyroid. Just gives a good flavor too. So that's a little sprinkle on top. We've got sauerkraut on our bowl. Sauerkraut.
Where do you get that?
You get that at Outpost or Whole Foods, a health food store. In the Asian food section, right where you'd find the seaweed wraps. Yeah, you have that. Yep, you can use any of this stuff. Yeah. We have a garnish of lime, so squeeze your lime on there. Does anyone not like cilantro?
Yeah.
Really? Usually in a group there's a couple hands. Yeah. I always okay. Lynn doesn't like cilantro, which is fine.
Okay.
There's do you think it tastes like soap when you eat it? There's a genetic mutation where some people perceive it as soap, which is awful. But I love it, and it's so good for liver detoxification and your kidneys. Cilantro is a really good detox herb. So I throw it in pesto. Whenever you make fresh pesto, throw some cilantro in there to get a concentrated dose. But it's good to, garnish on your bowl.
Put it in there, that's good.
Put it in your smoothie. I do that a lot too. Yeah, cilantro in your smoothie, basil in your smoothie is so good and fresh. Parsley, I love parsley in smoothies. Sauerkraut. So sauerkraut, let me mention a little something about sauerkraut. Of course, like Dr. Prentice mentioned, a healthy gut translates to a healthy brain. About 90% of your serotonin is produced and stored in your gut. So how do we promote a healthy gut? Well, we avoid the pro-inflammatory foods like gluten and sugar and not eating a ton of dairy if you're sensitive to it, and just ultra-processed foods, breads, pastas, crackers, cookies, cereals, things that come out of bags and boxes with 40 ingredients. Those are probably not so good for your gut. But we also include fermented foods, and that would be sauerkraut. So whenever you buy sauerkraut, make sure you buy it in the refrigerated section. The canned or jarred stuff that's shelf stable, it's not bad for you. It just doesn't have the good bugs. You're not getting the benefit. Always buy it in the fridge section. My favorite store, Trader Joe's. This is where I get it. My kids like it because it's got little pickles in it. See the little pickles in there? So they kind of pick out the pickles. And then my youngest, she drinks the sauerkraut liquid.
Me too. It's so good.
Yeah. So I always save the liquid for her, which is so good for her, or for our guts. But we just pull this out at dinner every night. We just, this is how we do it. Whatever we're having, it doesn't have to be brats. Let's think beyond brats and sauerkraut. Let's get beyond that, right? So if you have rice and beans or a stir fry or whatever, a bowl, put it on the side or on top, a little condiment. Your salad with your smoked salmon, little condiment, a couple forkfuls goes a long way. If your kids like pickles, they'll probably like sauerkraut. Good to introduce them. Yes, I think you had a question? Oh.
Smoked salmon, that's already cooked, I can buy.
It's already cooked.
So you just crumble it.
Crumble it up. Couldn't be easier. Yep.
And with the sauerkraut, if you warm it, do you always eat it cold? Does it change everything?
Right. So good. If you're gonna put it in the oven, that wouldn't be good. If you're putting it on a casserole or something, that wouldn't be good. But if you're having a hot bowl of rice and you put a dollop of sauerkraut, cold sauerkraut on top, it being exposed to the hot rice is not going to kill off the bacteria. You're still getting the benefits.
But don't put it in a skillet.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Put it at the end on top.
Sauerkraut
Yeah.
back and then cilantro.
Here's sauerkraut. Pickled red onions. Those are amazing. Pickled red onions, same. If they are in the refrigerated section, pickled is great. Pickled would be different though than fermented. So pickled are usually shelf stable, and they're delicious condiment. But for food to be truly fermented, you'll find it in the fridge because those bacteria thrive in a cooler environment. So there's a great local company called Symbiotics. Have you guys seen that? It comes in mason jars. They have that at Outpost. And they make sauerkraut, but they also make this just reminded me when you said the pickled onions, they also make fun other fermented vegetables, like pickled beets, pickled carrots. Their carrot ginger one is so good. Kimchi, other flavored type vegetables. Okay. What's that?
Yeah.
The name of the company for the fermented vegetables, the local company called Symbiotics, Zymbiotics, Symbiotics.
So, before I go to work, I'll take a spoonful of antibiotics.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah, could be with food, on an empty stomach, whatever.
Yeah.
Anytime, just get it in. 1 to 2 tablespoons at minimum, of sauerkraut or fermented veggies. Okay, any questions on the bowl or the ingredients that we did for the bowl? Yeah.
What is the best turmeric that you
Best turmeric. I just buy the Trader Joe's organic ground turmeric. I think any turmeric is fine. Just get it in. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Fresh is good too. Fresh turmeric kind of looks like a ginger root. And that's great to throw in soups or in smoothies or something, but this is just so convenient. But remember to activate it with your black pepper, okay? So that's going to significantly enhance the bioavailability. That means for your body's ability to absorb it, black pepper. Now, when you supplement with turmeric or curcumin is turmeric extract, which is a really potent way to get this stuff when we're using it, as clinicians using it therapeutically to bring somebody's inflammatory markers down or to help somebody with their arthritis, their joint pain. Depression responds well to turmeric or curcumin. Curcumin's the medicinal extract found in capsules. We have a great one called curcumin, phytosome. It's by Thorne. Now, because that formula is bound to a phospholipid in the capsule form, it doesn't have black pepper, and that's okay. It's still really absorbed. It's the extract, and it's bound to phospholipid, so don't worry about it. But when you're cooking with it, you gotta have black pepper, and you gotta have a fat too. That's the other component for absorption. So we got our fat with our coconut. You got your fat, if you're making something with olive oil or something with your eggs or whatever, black pepper. Questions on that brain bowl recipe? Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like salmon and like plastics?
Salmon and plastics. What do you mean?
Like how I thought in like the lakes
The fish are eating.
plastics.
Yeah. It's gross. I know.
It is. And I
Yeah.
think there's like a limit, because of it and stuff.
Yeah. I aim for salmon 1 to 2 times a week. Wild caught is what I'm looking for. Farm raised is not the best, and maybe exposed to maybe a little more of that, like the PCBs and the stuff in the oceans, the plastics, or the stuff in their feed. Like they're feeding the fish corn. Like fish should not be eating corn.
Where do you think the wild caught?
So Outpost is my favorite. Like if I get like a fresh fillet of wild caught salmon, I get it from Outpost. Trader Joe's has a frozen wild caught. I don't love that as much, but it works, for when you need to pull something out of the freezer. And then this smoked salmon is wild caught from Trader Joe's.
Does it also keep your the turmeric, the actual root, and the other one ginger in your freezer?
Yeah. Yes. Good hack. I do that all the time. So I bought a bunch of ginger for this recipe, and I didn't end up needing it all. So I have a bunch of fresh ginger at home. So today, later, tomorrow, what I'll do is I will shave off the skin or cut off the skin, and then I'll chop it into little 1-inch pieces and put it into a mason jar or a container, glass container, and freeze it. And then that way I have it easily ready to just like pop into soups or thaw and chop up real quick. Or I a lot of times will take that little 1/2-inch or 1-inch chunk and throw it into a smoothie, or in the winter, hot tea. Like it's so wonderful to just like have fresh ginger hot tea with just little chunk that's already made for you and hot water over top. So don't ever waste this. Freeze it.
Should it be organic or doesn't it?
I don't think it matters. Yeah, it grows down underneath, and I don't think ginger is a highly sprayed one. Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about why you stay away from regular cow's milk dairy.
Yeah. So, dairy is one of those where I think it does have to be individualized. We do a lot of food sensitivity testing at our office, and that helps to guide us. If people don't know, like, is dairy the problem for me? Is gluten the problem for me? We do a test, and it shows us your inflammatory, what's called your IgG reaction to a food. It's a blood test. Dairy a lot of times does come back high for people. Dairy is a common problem food for some people. Not everybody though. So the issue that most people have with dairy is the reaction to the protein in dairy called casein. Casein is to dairy as gluten is to wheat, right? It's the inflammatory protein found in dairy, just like gluten is the protein found in wheat. Casein is high in cow milk. And in our body, if you look at I geek out on this stuff. And so when you look at the nutritional components of breast milk, like human milk that we thrive on, right? As humans, it's very low in casein content. When you look at the components of cow milk, it's very high in casein. So that's kind of testament to we haven't really evolved to be able to break down the casein content in cow milk. Right? You look at other species, and they don't drink milk outside of their own species. Goat milk, however, is very similar. If you look at the nutritional components of goat milk versus breast milk, it's very similar. So goat dairy, it makes sense. They're smaller animals, right? They're 150 pounds. They're the size of a human. So it makes sense that we could be able to, we can digest goat dairy better due to the lower casein content than cow dairy. Does that make sense? And so goat cheese is a great option if you don't feel great with cow cheese. Try goat cheese, goat cheddar, goat Gouda, goat feta. There's a great selection at health food stores. The whole goat or sheep. Sheep is the same concept, lower casein. But if, fermented, there's a lot of benefits too of fermented cow dairy, right? Like yogurt, kimchi, because the gut. So it just really is individualized. I think don't be, regardless, we probably shouldn't be eating cheese, I know, and we're in Wisconsin, but we shouldn't be eating cheese like every day. Think of it as a treat for any of us. All right, so now we're gonna make dessert. We have our 5-ingredient brownie bites. We are going to take nuts. For this recipe, I chose walnuts. These are my favorite nuts.
No bone broth?
None of it has bone broth.
Okay.
This one does not bone broth.
Alright. Everybody, you want no sound. No sound, so.
Like Dr. Prentice said, it looks like the brain, you guys. Look at that. I mean, nature is so wise. This is 2 lobes of the brain right there, okay? We have to eat our walnuts for our brain. They're my favorite nut because of the omega-3 content. Compared to other nuts, they have the highest omega-3s, the highest essential fats. The same fats you find in salmon, we find in walnuts and flax and chia and hemp. But walnuts have the highest omegas out of all nuts. Omegas are essential fats. That means we must get them from the diet. It's essential we get these nuts, or we get these fats from the diet. We can't make them. We cannot make them. So walnuts and then Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts, I chose these because it's an easy way to hide it. Not everybody loves the taste of Brazil nuts on their own, right? So they're a little bitter, but they are an excellent source of selenium. We don't really get a lot of selenium in our diets. So selenium is crucial for our thyroid to work optimally. Thyroid controls metabolism and your temperature regulation. It keeps your hair nice and full and your skin nice and soft and your energy up. You don't have good thyroid function, things kind of slow down, right? You gain weight, your hair falls out, you feel cold all the time, your skin's dry. So how can we support the thyroid with food? Well, we can eat the seaweed gomaggio, right? Sprinkle of that with our seaweed on there. That's good for the thyroid, and we can eat 3 to 5 Brazil nuts a day. Will give you good selenium, which is important for your thyroid.
Is there a
yeah, it's possible. I occasionally will test patients who are eating a lot of Brazil nuts and taking selenium as a supplement, and I have a hunch that maybe they're overdoing it, and we get results back, and it looks like they're a little high. So yeah, there is a possibility to overdo it. I would say you want to do one or the other. You either eat your Brazil nuts if you've got a thyroid condition, or you want to prevent a thyroid condition, 3 to 5 days, or you take if you don't love them, you don't want to eat them, then you can take 200 micrograms daily as a supplement. You don't have to use these nuts in here. You could use cashews, you could use almonds, whatever. Half a cup of nut. I think the recipe, I'm doubling it here for this really big group, but half a cup of one type of nut and half a cup of another type of nut, or 1 cup of nuts total. All we're going to do is puree it in a food processor. Okay, now we're going to add dates. So I buy the organic pitted dates from Trader Joe's. Just saves me a step from having to pit them, de-pit them. And it's okay to take the shortcuts sometimes, you guys. Even if, you don't buy everything organic, but you want to save some time and just get some vegetables in, buy the non-organic, already pre-chopped vegetables sometimes. That's okay. It's about progress, not perfection. You don't have to be perfect with this. It's just grand scheme of things, you want to get a lot of plants in your diet. How can you do that? Maybe that means buying pre-cut stir-fry vegetables from Trader Joe's where all you do is throw it into a skillet, saute it for 5 minutes or 8 minutes, and then throw some like, you know, leftover chicken on top and call it a stir-fry. All right, we've got dates, and that's going to sweeten it. Dates are like nature's candy. So they're still, you know, high in sugar, natural sugar, but we're pairing it with good fat so we don't get a big spike in blood sugar. Then we've got cacao powder, just 100% cacao powder. This is from Trader Joe's. And that gives you a good source of magnesium, which is calming for us, helps us relax, keeps our muscles nice and relaxed. And then we have salt, so 5 ingredients. I made these last weekend and I put them in the freezer. So heads up, they freeze well. You can eat them frozen or just thaw them. Okay. Now it's like a brownie bite. You just roll them into balls. And that's great for mid-afternoon. You know, you want something a little sweet after lunch or a dessert after dinner. You know, the key, Dr. Prentice talked about intermittent fasting, and I just wanted to add that I'm a big fan. I think it can be helpful. But here's where I think people kind of go wrong with it and maybe don't see the results like they want to see. Is what I'll see a lot of people do is, you know, eat a later dinner. You know, and maybe snack a little bit on the couch, watch TV, and then they look at their watch. All right, I'm done eating at 8:30. I'm just not going to eat again until, you know, you hear about 16 hours, right? Fasting for 16 hours. So, all right, I'm not going to eat again until 12:30. So that's not best for metabolism. The recent research shows, especially for weight loss, is to eat an early dinner. If you can look at your watch and say, all right, it's 6 o'clock, I'm done. I'm going to go brush my teeth. I'm going to have one of my brownie bites right after dinner. And I'm going to be done at 6. And I'm still going to eat breakfast. But I'm going to eat breakfast, you know, maybe like 9, 8 or 9. I still think eating breakfast is important. It's important to fuel our bodies, wake us up, give us energy, help with our metabolism. But the key with this meal timing stuff is to try and eat an early dinner, if your schedule allows for it. So like with sports and stuff, I know it's hard. Like my kids are in the age where we are constantly on the go in the later afternoon, and they get home from school and it's, you know, 4 o'clock, 3:30, and I have the decision of like, all right, we can either eat dinner now at 4, or we can just snack and eat dinner at 7:30, 8. But everybody's hungry at 4 anyways, so we eat dinner at 4 sometimes. You know, and that's, I think, better for metabolism if your schedule allows for it.
So is the issue with that, with the snapping early, that it takes so much energy in our bodies to metabolize the food that your body then can't eat for the rest? Is that
our bodies are not, in a nutshell, our body's not well equipped to break down food in the evening. We're gonna, even if you're eating carrots on the couch watching TV, you're much more readily, you know, gonna store those carrots or whatever healthy food as fat versus if you were to be eating the same food earlier in the day.
So how about for kids then?
I mean, kids are different. Kids shouldn't be fasting. Kids, yeah. I mean, kids can eat whatever they want. They're so active. You know, they need to snack. You know, kids need to snack. Do adults need to snack? No. Like, we don't really need to snack. We have our breakfast, we have our lunch, and we have our dinner. If you constantly feel the need to snack because truly you're really hungry, then you're probably not having enough protein or fat with your meals. So think about that. How can I up my protein? Chicken, fish, turkey, beans, nuts, seeds. How can I up my fat? My olive oil, my avocado in my smoothie. Nuts and seeds. But yeah, kids are rapidly growing. Like let them eat whenever they want to, you know.
Do you have recommendations though for like if they've already had dinner and then they're going to sports?
Yeah.
What's your
So
favorite
I just
snack?
good question. I just had the custom. I got my oldest is in a freshman now. She's running cross country for Shorewood, and yeah, those kids are hungry. Yeah. She I had the whole cross country team in, like here, like this. We did something like this for I talked about nutrition fundamentals for female athletes, and we made stuff like this. We made some cool like energy bites with the girls, and we made smoothies with the girls. So that would be, you know, like I have a great recipe on my website. And by the way, you got a few of these recipes, right, we made today, but I love to cook, and I love all this stuff sharing with you guys. So we have a really active like Instagram page and Facebook page. So I'm always sharing what I'm eating and recipes there, but I always post it too. If you're not big in social media, just go on our website, lakesidenaturalmedicine.com, and there's a resource tab, and under the resource tab there are recipes, and you can search. And one of the, if you've got kids or you just have a sweet tooth and you want to find healthy, you know, alternatives to cookies, there's a great recipe I make all the time with my kids. Actually, it's similar to this. On the back of this, no bake energy bites of this flax, brown flax bag. But they're like peanut butter, oats, chocolate chips, flax, honey. That's it. And we made that with the cross country team. They were a hit. So that's something my girls are always, you know, popping in their mouth and eating. Smoothies are great. Other snacks like, you know, hummus and veggies. I mean, I always try to like make them a second dinner when they get home. And, you know, pull stuff out in the freezer and keep some like, you know, some of the Trader Joe's like easy freezer stuff that's easy to throw in the air fryer or throw in the oven. Because I want to eat like more real whole food than like pulling out chips, you know, at 8 p.m.
Dr. Axtell,
Yeah.
another plug-in for your website,
Yeah.
because when we were talking about getting your greens in and
Yeah.
how complicated that feels, you have an easy cream greens.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And
You like that?
This may be disgusting to some people, but I used to love hamburger helper because it was
Yeah.
such a comfort food.
Yeah.
It's the nutritious and clean version of hamburger helper.
Oh my gosh.
It's really that good.
That's
I was very
hilarious.
skeptical, but it's easy cream greens.
I've never been compared to hamburger helper. I feel honored, Misty. Thank you.
I love comfort food, so.
Thank you for that compliment. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, lots of good recipes on there. Lots of good smoothie recipes. This one maybe, you know, is good, but there's other smoothie recipes on there.
I'm curious if you come to hear about
Oh, like in the mouth, like itchy, like pineapple. People tell me that, you know, like yeah. You might feel slightly allergic to that. Be careful with that. Yeah, the itchy is kind of a sign. Allergy.
Strawberries.
Yeah.
Somehow in the mouth, but I have too many.
Yeah. Watch that. Yeah. So you can use cashews, you know, and it might be quantity too for you, like low, where you can do like a little bit but not a lot.
My son's like cross country also.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, see, so when he's hungry, he's always like, make that one rainbow. It's the Korean quinoa rainbow.
Does he love that?
More turmeric, better.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's
Oh, that makes my day. That's awesome. My kids won't eat that. Actually, I make that for
one that
myself.
was like, after he's like, this is my favorite.
Keep making it more on that. That's great. So what year is he?
10th grade.
Okay. Man, those runners. Yeah. They are.
It's like he's tiny.
Yeah, I know. Like, you know, peanut butter is such like a high nutrient density food. Yeah.
I'll be right. Okay.
What peanut butter do you like? Obviously not the Jif.
No, not a Jif. Yeah, peanut butter. I just get, you know, the key is to look at minimal ingredients. So when you look at the ingredients, it just should say peanuts and salt. It shouldn't say partially hydrogenated oil. You know what that is? That's trans fat. And that's in Jif, and that's in Skippy, and that's in, I mean, it makes it taste yummy, and so you don't have to like stir it. That's convenient, but not so convenient for your body. It's partially hydrogenated oil where they've taken a liquid oil and they've manipulated the bonds to make it partially hydrogenated to be then solid. And that's trans fat, and that we know causes heart disease. In small amounts over time, that's going to add up. Your peanut butter? Does it get dry?
It's just like, it's high maintenance.
Yeah, it is high maintenance. I know, the stirring. The stirring. I don't know, mine doesn't get dry.
Yeah, right.
I guess I just maybe like sit there and stir it. I store it upside down too. Maybe that's a hack. I hope you guys are going to eat some of these balls. So many, yeah.
I have a question on MCT oil. I was like adding it to my green tea or something with it. And I don't know if it was psychosomatic. Like, do people have energy spikes with that or anxiety with MCT?
Oh, so like Dr. Prentice said, it's an excellent fuel for the brain, but also just a fuel for the body. Like it's an efficient fuel for the body. So maybe that was that like increase in energy was perceived by you as like anxiety sort of. Okay. Like athletes use it before a race, for instance, like in their tea or in their breakfast, in their smoothie or something to give them like a go. Okay. Now, MCT and coconut. Chris, you want to check that? Yeah. MCT and coconut oil. So you mentioned the benefits for the brain, like it's so good for the brain, right? But it can be overdone, and for people that do have high cholesterol, it can raise LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. So it's all about individualizing this stuff, right? When we meet with patients, we look at labs, and we look at lipids and inflammatory markers, and kind of decide what are the best fats for you. And sometimes coconut oil and coconut milk isn't great for some people for their cholesterol, for their lipids. So just think about it not being the only oil you use, coconut oil. If you're really trying to like prevent Alzheimer's, great, use some coconut oil, but also use olive oil, right? And also use avocado oil. Don't be just solely using coconut, because you heard it was good for the brain. Diversify those fats.
And then the other question, when you're choosing coconut oil, you know, there's the refined coconut oil that you can have coconut flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a preference? Do you just want like the raw?
Yeah, I think it's best unrefined. Like when it comes to these fats, like the less processed these fats are, the better. Like extra virgin olive oil, like unrefined extra virgin olive oil is great. There's a great guide in your packet on how to choose a quality olive oil. Trader Joe's has a good one, that one right there. And then Kirkland actually, like Costco, they've gotten good reviews or like workups on their oil, but it's like a real oil. Their extra virgin olive oil, Kirkland brand. 365 Whole Foods brand has gotten good workup on their olive oil. The key for olive oil is buy it in a dark jar, because they can go rancid easily, kind of like the flax, right? You want to keep it cold, like so away from your stove. And then you don't want it to be exposed to a lot of light. And then also, it shouldn't be a blend from like Spain, Italy, Singapore, and Japan. Like if you see that, red flag, like it's probably not real olive oil. It should be from one country, because that's more traceable, and there's a lot of adulterated olive oils out there that aren't real olive oil. Yeah, Francesca.
Does the lion's mane mushroom tea have caffeine?
No.
It doesn't.
No. Yeah, you can drink lion's mane as a tea. You can eat it. Sometimes like those farmers market stands will have like those cool like mushroom farmers market stands will have like gnarly looking mushrooms, that you can buy. Lion's mane being one of them. I've never really cooked with it, to be honest. I either drink it as a tea or I take it as a supplement for brain health. And it works. Like a lot of people who kind of are worried about Alzheimer's and dementia and starting to maybe experience some mild cognitive deficits, they say after about 3 months, not instant, of course, nothing with natural medicine is like instant, unfortunately. So we got to be patient, but after about 3 months, people have reported to me that they feel like their memory is better. But of course, it's other stuff too that hopefully we're working on, like the diet and exercise. Yeah. No. No. The texture would be, if you were to like saute and put it in a stir fry, it would be like the same texture as a mushroom. Yeah. But a lion's mane tea is pretty mild, pretty benign. And then a supplement, you can't taste it. You know? Yeah.
What do you think about these mushroom coffees?
Yeah, I think they're cool. I like them. You know, they still have caffeine, so for people that are real sensitive to caffeine, like keep that in mind. Like, may not be the best for you because it still has caffeine. A lot of times it's like mushrooms with, like Four Sigmatic is a brand, and that's great. Yeah, there's one. Chris drinks it a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's great because I think it does kind of like green tea, where like you get alert, but you're not so anxious and jittery from it because it's got the adaptogenic quality from the mushrooms. Adaptogenic is an herbalist term that means it helps you adapt better, regulate stress better. So where do you buy the Thrive Market? Amazon. Outpost, I'm sure, would have it.
They're pretty wide.
So bowls. Hold on. Bowls can be a good, easy dinner, especially if you've got like picky family members and stuff where, you know, it's deconstructed, so everybody can put what they want to, you know, put. So forbidden rice is a great base of a bowl. Greens are a great base of a bowl, right? Then it's basically a salad. But cauliflower rice is a great base of a bowl, right? So frozen cauliflower rice. I get that all the time from Trader Joe's. Just thaw it, maybe throw some turmeric and some salt and pepper in there, and then top it with always top with a protein for a bowl, right? You got a base, and then top with a protein, and then have a yummy sauce. Like for this one, I didn't have a sauce because the coconut is so flavorful already, but for sauces or dressings, a lot of times I'll use Primal Kitchen. You know that brand? Have you guys seen that brand? That's a good company, Primal Kitchen. They make a good olive oil, and they make a good avocado oil, and then they make all these great dressings and marinades, like a dairy-free ranch, and a dairy-free Caesar, and a green goddess dressing. So if you're not into like making all your own dressings, that's fine. Just make sure you buy quality dressings that are pre-made without the vegetable oil, canola oil, soybean oil, all those processed industrialized oils. Primal Kitchen only uses avocado oil. And it's a nice little drizzle over top of bowl to give food more flavor. Or a lot of times I'll use their dressings as a marinade for chicken or fish. You know, just dump some green goddess on some of their dressing on a chicken breast and throw it in the oven.
Thank you.
Alicia, I think you have a
I
question?
was going to ask you to clarify what would be kind of like a general maximum amount.
There you go.
Oh.
Serving of nuts, so we're talking like
Yeah. Yeah. Again, everyone's so different in their activity level. I know you're a big runner, so like you probably need a little more. You know, generally I'll say if a lot of people come to me with like weight loss resistance. A lot of women, especially perimenopausal women, struggle with weight loss resistance, especially in the belly. And they're like, I'm eating nuts and I'm eating healthy stuff and avocado, and yes, that's all healthy. Avocados, nuts, olive oil, healthy fats, but like they're very calorically dense. Those foods, like calories, do add up. You know, if you're watching your weight. So, so a serving of nuts, if you're watching your weight, is like a quarter cup a day, right? That's like 3 or 4 tablespoons. And you can imagine if you're not thinking about that and you're watching your weight and you're like, what the heck? And you have, you know, some nuts mid-morning snack, and then you get nuts in your salad, and then you're like, oh, I'm kind of hungry, so I'll have a couple tablespoons of almond butter. Then I know that's healthy. That all adds up. That's a lot of calories. If you're highly active, that might be fine. If you're not watching your weight, fine. But just think about that. Like, and then olive oil, like 2 tablespoons a day in total. Avocado, quarter to a half. I would say nuts is the most common. You should get this off. Nuts is the most common one where I do see people overdo. And they can be hard on digestion. you think about it, nuts back in the day, to get nuts, we'd have to climb a tree. We'd have to knock them down. We'd spend hours trying to get them open, right? And then maybe we'd be left with 8 walnuts after 4 hours, you know? I mean, that's kind of like, when you think about it, like, oh, like now we can get shelled pistachios and just be mowing on our pistachios. Like, it maybe it's so easy, too easy for us.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can we talk about tomatoes for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
I really saying
Sure.
about tomatoes here.
Sure.
I feel
The
like it's a new,
nightshades, yeah.
you know, there's a lot of questions about tomatoes being superfood now.
Okay, so some people say, oh, I'm not going to eat tomatoes because I've heard they're nightshade. And so I heard they're inflammatory. And so nightshades, vegetables, would be tomatoes, eggplant, bell peppers, and potatoes, white potatoes. Okay, so the nightshades contain an alkaloid that can be more inflammatory for autoimmune joint disease. So we're talking rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, really RA, rheumatoid arthritis. Those are the people that truly, I do see, like, react to nightshades. They cause joint pain. If you're just trying to, like, reduce general inflammation, you don't have RA, like, don't worry about the tomatoes. You can eat tomatoes. You can eat eggplant, bell peppers, and white tomatoes, or white potatoes, you know, in moderation. Potatoes are really starchy. So to prevent the blood sugar spikes, we want to cook them, cool them, reheat, and eat them with a protein. But I eat tomatoes, and most people I don't recommend necessarily avoiding.
Good question. So do we do the ApoE testing here? And we do that here. I believe the one we have here is a swab test. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So the question was, for cholesterol, do we have a different kind of target for optimal cholesterol levels? And yes, the total cholesterol, and this can, depending on the person, this might be a little bit different, but oftentimes that total cholesterol level should never be below 150. That can be, again, related or linked to depression and then also Alzheimer's and dementia.
And then looking at the particle size.
Yes, and then we do a lot more kind of in-depth testing with cholesterol because it's not only the amount, but also the size of your cholesterol level or cholesterol particles.
Learn on this.
Yeah, I know. Today's a good day. Yeah.